Have you ever heard a speech that was memorable right from the start? Opening your speech is one of the most important aspects of your talk because you want to have people listening right away. And after today, you'll have 5 tips that will help you be memorable right from the start of your speech. Now, before we start, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so that you can get weekly tips to help you master your presentation skills. Now, as a speaking coach, I help people with their presentations, and I really like to pay attention to the beginning of the speech because how you start your speech determines how your audience is going to receive you, and the next 5 tips will help you make sure that that always happens for you. Tip number 1 is feel the room. You want to make sure that you feel the energy in the room. Don't just assume that if you're an energetic person that you can come in and blast off, hey, how you doing? Let's get going. You may need to read the room. You may need to know who was the speaker before you. These are things to know. If someone before you, for instance, spoke about something very heavy and the audience is somber and really in a pensive thinking mode, you don't want to come in blasting off talking in a high energetic manner. You want to match the room, match the feeling, and then lead your audience where you want them to go. Tip number 2 is make sure you assume that the audience wants to be engaged right away. A lot of times speakers will start their speeches and they will just talk about, oh, thank you for inviting me in, and how's the weather today, and all of these just nonsensical startups. And a lot of that is nerve. Sometimes people just kind of want to ramble a little bit before they get into the meat of their presentation. You want to assume that the audience wants to be engaged right away. So get right into your content. One of the best ways to do that is to start with a story or some element that is directly related to your content. So right from the beginning, your audience is thinking, okay, they're presenting me with content I need to listen to right away. You hear far too many speakers still say, okay, well, now I'm going to get into the content of my speech about 2-3 minutes into their speech. No, jump right in. Assume they want to be engaged. Assume that people want your content right off the bat. Tip number 3 is tell them about yourself, but only the aspects that are relevant to your presentation. There are a lot of things that I've done in my life. There is a fitness background. I've been a former police officer. There are a lot of things that I have that are part of my past. But when it comes to coaching a speaker or giving a presentation on speaking, I'm not mentioning most of that unless it's relevant to what I'm going to be talking about in my speech. So just think of your relevant credentials and share that with your audience. Let me know, comment below. Let me know if there's ever been a time when maybe you've shared too much that wasn't relevant to your audience, or you heard a speaker that was just sharing way too much information, talking about themselves way too much, all of their credentials that they have accomplished in their life that had nothing to do with the presentation. If you have a story about that, share that below. Tip number 4 is to make a big promise. There's an old saying that says that everybody's favorite radio station is WIIFM. What's in it for me? Make sure you tell your audience what is in it for them. What is the big outcome, the big way their life is going to change as a result of hearing your presentation. By the end of this presentation, you'll have the keys to blank, or you'll have the answer to this. Make sure you tell them so that they know, okay, well, by the end of this presentation, I'm going to get something out of it. They want to know what's in it for them. And finally, tip number 5 is outline the journey. Give them a roadmap to follow. So if it's 3 steps to your program or 5 steps to your presentation, tell them in the next few minutes you're going to pick up the 5 steps to blank, or the 4 steps to this, or the ABCs to this. Make sure you outline the journey, and in their minds they will follow that path, and they'll know that, okay, there's more steps here. And people like to know there's a sequence to things. So make sure you outline the journey. So there are your 5 tips to starting your presentation, opening your presentation with impact to engage your audience. If you want more tips like this, you can click below or go to 52publicspeakingtips.com to get weekly world-class tips that are going to help you become 3 times the speaker that you are today. And of course, if you like this video, once again, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you soon.